Week 11 of the fantasy football season. Here's a few tight ends I have as sleepers this week. The first tight end, Will Dissly of Los Angeles Chargers. He's getting more involved in this offense over the last month of the season. Here's Will Dissly out there in 94% of fantasy leagues. This Charger offense is playing well, and they got a great matchup this week versus the Bengals that can't stop anyone and give up the fourth most fantasy points to tight ends on the season. So the last few games for this week 8 versus the Saints, 5 catches, 41 yards. Week 9 at Cleveland, 2 catches, 9 yards. And then last week versus the Titans in Week 10, 5 catches, 30 yards on 6 targets. So like I said, good matchup this week. This offense is finally healthy. Quentin Johnston's been back over the last couple weeks. Ladd McConkey's been decent in his rookie year. And Gus Edwards returned to the lineup last week as well. So Will Dissly, we've seen some flashes from him throughout his career going back to his Seattle Seahawks days. And I think this week, if you're in a pinch at the tight end position, he's a decent sleeper option because him and Herbert are starting to get rapport, and the targets have been going up weekly. The next tight end, Noah Fant of the Seattle Seahawks. Fant out there in tons of fantasy leagues still with 79%. And Noah Fant, I know he's the 4th or 5th option in this offense. DK Metcalf returning to the lineup this week. But there's some games Noah Fant's gone out there and he's looked decent this season. Week 6 versus the Niners, 6 catches, 63 yards. Week 7 in Atlanta, 4 catches, 65 yards. Week 8 versus Buffalo, 3 catches, 22 yards. Then Week 9, he missed with injury versus the Rams. Week 10, they had the bye. And now back in a ball game at the San Francisco 49ers, where obviously he had his best game of the season was Noah Fant. Like I said, 6 for 63 in Week 6 versus Niner team. So this ball game could be high scoring between these two division rivals. A high scoring game in Week 6 where the Seahawks lost 36-24. So I think Fant is a deep sleeper option, could surprise once again and have a decent ball game. And the third and final tight end I have is a sleeper, Dawson Knox of the Buffalo Bills. I believe Dawson Knox, he's going to start in this ball game. I don't believe Dalton Kincaid's going to be healthy and ready to go. And Knox is out there in 97% of fantasy leagues, and he's been a pretty solid tight end throughout his career when he's gotten opportunities. But obviously with Kincaid there the last couple seasons, the opportunities haven't been there much for Knox. But believe it or not, the last 2 out of 3 games, he's had 6 or more fantasy points in PPR leagues. Week 8 at Seattle, 2 catches, 50 yards. Week 9 versus the Dolphins, a catch, 5 yards. And Week 10, where Kincaid was in and out of that ball game, 2 catches, 40 yards. So this week, a good matchup on paper, believe it or not, versus the Chiefs, where I think they're a good defense, but tight ends do have their way with this defense. They give up the second most points to tight ends on the season. So now, if Kincaid's out, even if he's not, I don't believe he's going to be operating at 100%. And I think Dawson Knox could be a sneaky sleeper option this week either way. So that's a few tight ends I have as sleepers for Week 11 of the fantasy football season.